Your Excellency, very good evening, and I, on behalf of the Daily Tribune and the News of Bahrain, welcome you to Bahrain. And you are a seasoned diplomat with an experience of over 2 decades, and you've been in Bahrain for over 2 months now. So, how do you find, the people and the culture of Bahrain?
Good evening. Very happy to be speaking to you, and want to use this platform to convey to the readers of the Daily Tribune my best wishes, the wishes of my colleagues in the Indian Embassy. I look forward to a very engaging and fruitful tenure in Bahrain. This is my first ambassadorial posting, and I've come here, as you pointed out, after 2 decades of experience. In the 2 months that I have been here, I must say that I have been very warmly welcomed by the government of the Kingdom of Bahrain. The Foreign Ministry in particular, its protocol has been excellent. The support I have received from them, the support I have received from all the various ministries of the Kingdom of Bahrain and from the Royal Court, etc., has been exceptional. And I couldn't have asked for a better start to my stint here. The people in Bahrain are equally friendly towards India. They know India quite well. They are aware of the long history between the two countries, and they have immediately put me at ease in this posting.
Given the long relationship that the two countries have, how would you analyze the present situation?
Well, the history of the bilateral relationship is a yardstick. It serves as a lodestar for the way our engagement has taken place over the centuries. When we look that over the past 4 millennia, there has been contacts in the last few centuries, mainly through traders and also people-to-people engagement. The relationship has strengthened after the two countries got their independence. But the most significant part that I would like to highlight is that there is a high degree of continuity on the Bahraini side, mainly because the leadership, the business houses, the trading elements, the trading groups in Bahrain have maintained a consistency of engagement with India, and that's very important. On the Indian side, as you are aware, when the British India was there during the British Indian period, there was a high degree of cooperation between the Bombay region and Bahrain, which still continues to this date. The aim of the two countries has been, since the establishment of diplomatic relations and also in the decades following, has been to expand this area of cooperation not only to the Bombay region but also to other parts. Like, let me take an example, today's example. Today evening I am going to attend a tourism roadshow by the government of Goa. This is a new area where area of cooperation, tourism towards Goa, Goan tourists coming to Bahrain. Similarly, last week there was a visit from Karnataka, which is another state in India which is on the southern side. So the expansion of this cooperation is something that we are looking at. This is the first element in the geographic terms. But in the in terms of the various sectors also, we have expanded our cooperation from the people to people and commercial, which was the basis earlier, to now areas like security and defense, about which I'll be happy to explain in the due course of this interview.
When you consider the relationship between the two countries and how it has progressed over the decades, how can we take it to the next level? What is needed to reach the next level?
Yes. The next level is definitely a forward-looking, progressive level, which is based on expanded cooperation, but all of that revolves around the convergence of the leadership on both sides. I would draw your attention to the successful visit of the Indian Prime Minister in 2019. Before that, there have been high-level visits, exchange of high-level visits. We've had the visit of His Majesty the King in 2014. We've had the visit of His Majesty in 2004. We've had the visit of His Royal Highness the Prime Minister sometime a few years back. When you look at the outcomes of all of these visits and the agreements that have been signed, it talks about a very ambitious agenda. This ambitious agenda covers areas like trade and commerce, it covers areas like investment, cooperation, judicial matters, it covers areas of cooperation in the ICT, information technology, people-to-people exchanges, etc. Now, we have to look at the opportunities that are available in the current phase. Now, the current phase is the phase of the post-pandemic phase, where restrictions have been lifted. When you look at that, if you look at the data of 2022, bilateral trade reached a very high level of 1.6 billion US dollars. When we even when you exclude the oil component, it reached $1.6 billion, the highest amount of trade that has taken place ever since we have established diplomatic relations. I would say, however, that is sort of high, responding to the demand on the immediate post-COVID phase. That there will be some correction, but the endeavor on both sides will be to increase trade, to increase two-way investments, especially investment from India into Bahrain, to increase people-to-people exchanges, tourism inflows, etc., and also look at opportunities in areas like health, pharmaceuticals, information technology, financial technology, and services.
If we are looking at the economic relationship between the two countries, what are the sectors or key areas in which we can go forward?
At this point of time, let us take trade and investment. At this point of time, when you look at the data, it is around 1.6 billion US dollars trade in 2022. As I pointed out, there is likely to be a correction because this was a very high jump. In the year, for instance, in the year 2005, it was $500 million bilateral trade. In the year 2018, 2019, it was a shade above 1 billion US dollars. But the jump to 1.6 billion US dollars is, in my view, a result of the high pent-up demand in the COVID period. So we could see lowering figures. But we have to look at how this trade is oriented. In that regard, let me share a very positive news, which is a few days back. I was very happy to note that according to the Q2 report, results of the Ministry of Finance and National Economy of the Kingdom of Bahrain, the Q2 results for the economic growth indicate that India has become, for the first time ever, the 5th largest export destination for Bahrain. So Bahrain is exporting substantial amounts to India. While the bilateral trade is hovering around at this point of time 800 million US dollars for a half-yearly period, I think there will be scope for increasing it to around 1.3 and 1.35 billion US dollars, which is a very good development in the current phase because the opportunities that is there in trade are being exploited by both sides. Then when we look at the investment, India has made an investment of 1.4 billion US dollars in the Kingdom of Bahrain between the period April 2020 and June 2023. I expect that to increase. In similar manner, I am looking forward to greater investment by Bahraini side in India. We have seen some forward movement through Investcor's activity in Mumbai. And thirdly, in the area of tourist inflows. Here, when you look at the data of the government of Bahrain, we see in the first 6 months of 2023, this year, 500,000 Indian arrivals into the Kingdom of Bahrain. during the same period, that is the first 6 months of 2022, it was 269,000 arrivals from India into Bahrain. So it's almost a doubling of the tourist inflows into Bahrain, which makes the Indian market a major source market for Bahrain, which I think will be a very useful step in the next stage of economic engagement. That is one part of it. The second part of it, I would say, is we have to look at areas where we are finding new opportunities for cooperation. I had mentioned health, pharma, medical tourism. I would add financial technology and services.
Is there a possibility of a free trade agreement between the two countries anytime soon?
At this point of time, when you look at the consideration of the Department of Commerce in India, they have been engaging in free trade areas with different parts of the world. There has been discussion on a free trade area between the GCC and India. We are hopeful that these talks will pick up steam. As you are aware, the development of a free trade area is a long process. It requires very careful study of the various factors and various actors. So I am hopeful that there will be some progress, but all of these depends on on many factors, some of which are within the control of the government, some of which are beyond the control of either government, like international developments, price movements, things like pandemics, etc. But I am hopeful that there will be progress towards FTA between India and the GCC.